Okay, good morning all. Now we will start the class. Okay, in yesterday class we are discussing about the topics optical communication systems. So, what is the need of optical communication and what are the advantages and the general optical communication systems we are discussed yesterday. So, I will recap again the optical communication. So instead of a general communication system, we are using the optical communication system with the help of optical fibers. So for the transmission of data with high speed and low losses, we have to transmit the data from one end to another end or one place to another place with the help of optical fibers with low loss systems and high speed of transmission. So here the optical system which have the some blocks. So those blocks we can represent it in terms of a general communication system. It have the transmitter and the medium and channel. Here in the optical communication system we are using the transmitter. So the transmitter which have the input signal has a electrical input signal. So this electrical input signal which is applied to the transmitter section. In the transmitter section there is a drive circuit and the light source. The drive circuit which help us which helps the light source to drive. How it will drive the light source? That means the electrical signal will be convert into the light signal or optical signal with the help of a drive circuit. This light signal will apply to the light source. Okay, so that means this drive circuit will drive the light source. And here we are using the fly load. So this fly load is also called as optical fly load. So the optical fly load means which have the very small part of a optical fiber which is used to connect the general fiber cable. Okay, and here it is represented as an optical slicer. So the optical slicer is same as a welding. We are used for general case of a welding. So what we have to do in the welding? So we are attaching two metals like irons. So here we are using the optical slicer which is used to connect the or attaching the two optical fiber cables. And come to this point, this is represented as the optical coupler and optical splitter. So the optical coupler means it will couples the optical fiber cable with the optical receiver system, and the optical splitter means whatever the signal we have received, that optical signal will be split into the more than two signals. So split means we are not destroying the signal. We have to split the signal with different intensity levels. Whatever we have to transmitting the data will be transferred to all the receivers. So suppose we are transmitting the data as hello. So here the data will be transmitted to all the receiver with different intensity levels. Okay, without any destroying this information, it will be transmitted to all the receivers. And in the receiver section, this square box is represented as regenerator. Okay, this box is represented as regenerator. So the regenerator means it will regenerate the original signals, okay, with the help of a electronic components. So these electronic components we have used as the retiming circuits and reshaping circuit, which will reshape the signal. Means whatever the optical signal, it will be converted into the electrical signal, and then it will be again converted into the optical signal format. Next it will be applied to the optical transmitter. So this optical transmitter which will be used to transmitting the data to the particular systems. So here we are using the again optical splicer. So you know about the optical splicer which is used to connect the more than two optical fiber cables. So and here I am using the optical amplifier. So due to the long process of this system, maybe if the signal having some strength will be less strength. So in order to strengthen the signal, we have to amplifying the signal by using the optical amplifier, and this signal will be applied to the photo detector. So the photo detector means it will retrace the original signal from the optical signal to, okay, so here that means whatever the optical signal we have, it will be converted into the electrical signal format, because at the receiver you have to need the electrical signal, not an optical signal. So now this signal will be applied to the amplifier, it will amplify the electrical signal, and then signal is applied to the signal restorer here. So it will restore the signal to the particular time intervals. Okay, up to now we have discussed earlier, means yesterday, and also discussed about the advantages. So advantages means bandwidth. So the bandwidth of a optical communication system which have the large bandwidth, which is in the range of a terahertz, and the size of a fiber cables which is very small as compared to the conventional electronic devices, which is very small cases, that means the size is which is in the micron size. And these cables are immune to crosstalk problem. So you know about the crosstalk means, whenever more than two signals it will interfere each other, then there is a problem of a crosstalk due to the less bandwidth problems. So here in the optical communication system that problem will be avoided. Okay, and which have the low transmission losses. Okay, the optical fiber cable having very less losses as compared to the conventional electronic devices, and the cost is very also less. And these cables are which is used for the long distance transmissions with high data transmission rates. Okay, up to now we have discussed yesterday. Now we will discuss about the topic as optical spectrum bands. Optical spectrum bands. Okay, now what is the spectrum bands means? Whenever we have to transmitting the signal, like suppose in our electronic devices means semiconductor bands is there. So like we have the optical bands also, so which represents in which bandwidth we are transmitting the signals. Let us assuming suppose there is a three transmitters there. So these three transmitter will choose the different bandwidth for the transmission. Assuming here it is a one person and another person is represented M2 and next person is 1. Okay, these persons they want to transmitting the data to the receiver. Okay, so these three transmitters they will choose the different bandwidths instead of a same bandwidth. If suppose they choose the same bandwidth, so then there will be a problem of a crosstalk problem. So instead of that we have choose the different bandwidth. Suppose here that person 3 it will choose the bandwidth which is having a range of 1 to 20 kilohertz. Suppose he will choose the, so particular person choose the bandwidth is a 1 to 20 kilohertz of bandwidth. So here the second person will choose the different bandwidth and first person also choose the different bandwidth for the transmission of a signals. Likewise we have to choose the optical spectrum bandwidth, at which ranges, at which bandwidth it will be more compatible for the transmission, which bandwidth is more comfortable for transmission with less attenuation. So the main important point in our optical system is whatever the data we have to transmit, that will be with less losses and high speed, and the main thing is attenuation is very low. You should have the attenuation is very low. Whenever the attenuation is low, then at the receiver we have to get the original signal. Okay, so for that case we are using the optical spectrum bands to choose the appropriate signal transmission. Okay, so see the diagram here. So the diagram, it will represent the spectrum of optical fiber cable range by the electromagnetic waves. So here it will representing that whatever the electromagnetic wave range is. So in that electromagnetic range we have choose the particular spectrum bandwidth for the optical communication system. So in that range, the bandwidth from 0 to 10 to the power 8 Hz, in the bandwidth of 0 to 10 to the power 8 Hz of frequency, which is assigned for the radio frequencies. The bandwidth of 0 to 10 to the power 8 Hz of frequency is assigned for the radio frequencies, and the bandwidth of 10 to the power 8 to 10 to the power 10 ranges of frequency is assigned for the microwave frequencies. Okay, so here they will means whatever the designers or whatever the systems we have, so those systems it will choose the particular frequency ranges based upon their capability. Okay, so and come to the point of our optical communication domain. So that optical communication domain which will lies in the range of a frequency from 10 to the power 14 to 10 to the power 15. Okay, 10 to the power 14 to in between 10 to the power 14 to 10 to the power 16. It will lies in the frequency range of 10 to the power 14 to 10 to the power 16. So that will be represented in terms of a edges. Come to the point of a frequencies, it will be represented in terms of edges. The bandwidth is 10 to the power 14 to 10 to the power 6. It will also represented means whatever the frequency, it will be converted into the meters, means meter ranges. We have to use the meter conversion. So it will represent the meter conversion of a signals. Here I am giving here in terms of a meter representation. Okay, just wait a minute, maybe there is some persons will join. Okay, okay, generally the optical fiber communication which involves at a frequency range of 0 to 8 micrometer to 1.7 micrometer, means already I told. So the frequency bandwidth here we are selected in terms of edges, but here whatever the bandwidth which is represented in terms of a meters here. Okay, so we are represented in terms of a meter conversion. So here the bandwidth of optical communication system which is occupied a free bandwidth of 0.8 micrometer to 1.7 micrometer. 0.8 micrometer to 1.7 micrometer. So here 0.8 micrometer means which is the frequency range of 800 nanometer to, which is having the bandwidth range of 800 nanometer to 1700 nanometer. Okay, 1700 nanometer. I have to convert that micrometer into the nanometer. So the range is 800 nanometer to 1700 nanometer range. See here, actually in 1970s, first there is a optical fiber communication system which are established. So in that condition of a 1970s, they are using a band of 850 nanometers. Okay, how they will selected 850 nanometers means, so actually see the diagram of a attenuation. This y-axis is represents the attenuation and the x-axis is represents the wavelength in terms of a meter. Attenuation in y-axis, x-axis which represents the wavelength range. Sir, why we are discussing about the attenuation concept here? Because the attenuation, okay, because the attenuation will play a vital role for the transmission of a optical signals. So whenever not only the optical signal, whatever the signal, it should have to consider the attenuation. So if the attenuation is high, so then the signal at the receiver, we have to receive the very weak signal. Okay, so in order to get the very high signal, we are choosing the attenuation. So attenuation should be low. So that condition, for that condition, we have to designing a particular wavelength, means we have to choose a particular wavelength at which wavelength the signal attenuation will be low. So see the diagram here. So in 1970s, the designers, they have designed a optical fiber system. Okay, they have designed a optical fiber system which have the attenuation is, you see the attenuation here, it is the attenuation having the 5 dB. The attenuation is 5 dB per kilometer. Okay, so here the range of a wavelength is 850 nanometers. So means at a wavelength of 850 nanometers, the minimum attenuation, okay, I'm talking about the minimum attenuation there in, rather than this 850, so the attenuation of signal is very high. So we are talking about the minimum attenuation. Minimum attenuation means we have to get the good signal. So the minimum attenuation at 850 nanometer is 5 dB per kilometer. So in order to get the very high signal, there is a very progressive in the optical domain. So means the designers, they will mainly concentrate upon the eliminating the attenuation concept. So in order to eliminate the attenuation, not only not eliminate the attenuation, they want to reduce the attenuation levels. So in order to reduce the attenuation of a signal, so they are doing some experiments using different materials. So out of those materials, the glass, optical fiber glass, which provides the good attenuation level. Okay, instead of all the materials, so the glass which have the good attenuation properties. So in the year of, sorry, at the level of a wavelength, it is, see the diagram here, in the attenuation of a, this one, there is maybe around the 1300 nanometer. At this point of a 1300 wavelength, the attenuation is quietly changes from 850 nanometers to 1300 nanometers. Okay, okay, as the years going on increases, there will be a frequency range increases. When the wavelength range will be increases, so here there will be very quiet changes in the attenuation values. So here the attenuation is 5 dB per kilometer at the range of 850 nanometers. While come to this point here, second wavelength, so that is a 1300 nanometers. See the attenuation here, so the attenuation is 0.5 dB per kilometer. Initially that is 5 dB per kilometer, but it will be reduces to 0.5 dB per kilometer. Okay, that means there is a very grad changes in the attenuation. So and compared to this one, there is a, again, see the wavelength of 1550 nanometers, means it is around 1400 to 1600. So it is around the 1550 nanometers. At 1550 nanometers, as compared to the second one, the third one, which is also very low attenuation level, it is around 0.2 dB per kilometer. Okay, so here the optical communication systems now present and up to 20 years, we have to use the these two optical windows. Not only present, we can use the up to 20 years minimum, means from 2020 to 2040, we have to use the these two windows for the optical domain. Maybe there will be any other material they will use, maybe there will be changes in the wavelength, but up to 20 years, we can use this wavelength is either 1300 nanometers or 1550 nanometers for the signal transmission. So which have the very high wavelength. See here, as compared to the 600 nanometers, the 1500 and 1300 is very high wavelength ranges. Okay, so not only the high wavelength here, due to the wavelength ranges at a 1550 nanometers, the attenuation is 0.2 dB. Here attenuation is 0.5 dB. Sir, why we are using the 0.5 dB? Already we got the 0.2 dB attenuation here. This attenuation is very low as compared to the second window. So this one is represented as first window. I am representing this is second window, and this one is the third window. In the third window, there will be attenuation is 0.2 dB, but in the second window the attenuation is 0.5 dB. Which one is better? The third one is the less attenuation, so it will be the better. But the users means, but the designers, they also used the 0.5 dB. Because why? Because so in that 0.5 dB attenuation means in the second window it will have the less dispersion. Okay, so that for that case, the designers, they will choose both the domains, means both the windows, both second window and third window, for the optical communication purpose. See, I will recap again. So here 1550 nanometers which have the 0.2 dB attenuation, as compared to the second window it will be the very less attenuation level, so we can choose the third window ultimately. But the designers, they will choose the second window also. Some cases they will choose the second window also due to the less dispersion will be less as compared to 1550 nanometer range, less dispersion here. Okay, that condition they will choose the both the windows for the optical communication purpose. So here the first window, which is having the wavelength of 850 nanometers, first window is 850 nanometer, and second window which is having the range of 1300 nanometer. I will center around the ranges. Okay, so this is 1300 nanometer, and come to the third window which is having the wavelength range of 1550 nanometer. Okay, uh, in these three windows the most widely used wavelength is 1550 nanometers. At this wavelength range, so many designs is there, so many researchers will research on this wavelength. So at this 1550 nanometers, the signal attenuation will be very less as compared to the any other wavelength ranges. So this 1550 nanometers is widely used in the optical communication system. Okay, so here what is the general wavelength range of optical fiber communication system, which is having the range of 1800 to 1700 nanometers. We can use in between these frequency range whatever. Instead of all these frequency range, we have to choose the better range also. Okay, so the minimum frequency range or general optical communication range is 800 nanometer to 1700 nanometer. Okay, so here I am giving the appropriate value 770 nanometer to 1670 nanometer. So here I'm rounding the values 800 nanometer to 1700 nanometer value. Okay, this entire band I will subdivide into the different spectral bands. Okay, so which band is used for the which type of systems? Okay, I will dividing the total entire bandwidth into the sub bands. So here we have used the 6 bands for optical communication system due to their superlative performance. So due to the superlative performance means which have the very less attenuation at the wavelength of a these 1550 nanometers or 1200 nanometers or whatever the wavelength range, they will be a long distance communication will be possible. Okay, see here we have used the 6 bands for optical communication due to their superlative performance for long distance communication. Okay, sorry, actually I am sharing the screen, so for that case I am not able to see the those who are trying to connect. Okay, I will wait for 5 minutes. Please tell to your friends if anybody want to come. I will wait for 5 minutes. Okay, shall I continue the class? Is there any who will join? Paddu. Okay, thank you. Okay, see here we have the total spectrum band. So here those who are joined late, I will recap again the optical spectrum band, which is represented as which type of bands are used for the transmission. The optical spectrum bands, which represents the which bandwidth or which type of frequency ranges we are used for the transmission of a particular signals. Okay, so this frequency band we can choose based upon the attenuation losses. Okay, so the optical spectrum band we have to choose a particular band of frequencies, so at which bandwidth the signal which have very less attenuation and less losses. Okay, so based upon the signal transmission, so we have choose the different frequency ranges, okay, in order to get the less attenuation level. Okay, so we'll come to the point of a spectrum of a optical fiber cables. So here this is the spectrum of a different frequency ranges. So in that frequency ranges, పాస్టర్ గారు మెల్లికి మాట్లాడండి. So here the frequency range is from 0 to 10 to the power 8 frequency. So here 0 to 10 to the power 8 frequency range will be chosen for the radio frequencies, and another frequency range of 10 to the power 8 to 10 to the power 10 which is chosen for the microwave frequencies. Okay, and 10 to the power 10 to 10 to the power 12 is chosen for the milliwave frequencies, and another one is 10 to the power 12. Okay, 10 to the power 12 to 10 to the power 14 is the infrared wave frequency. So see here the 10 to the power 14 frequency, which is very close to the, actually the infrared frequency is from 10 to the power 10 to 10 to the power 14. So not only this infrared wave, so here the optical window also, which is very close to the infrared wave frequency range. The optical window also which is closer to the infrared wave frequencies. And so here the optical wave frequency band, which is lies in the frequency of 10 to the power 14 to 10 to the power 16. So this frequency we are represented in terms of a meter ranges. So here that frequency range or frequency bandwidth, the bandwidth of optical communication system here 800 nanometer to 1700 nanometer bandwidth, which is chosen for the optical communication window. Sir, how we will choose the optical window here? Why we are choosing the 800 to 1700 nanometer? So we will discuss based upon the attenuation of a signal. Based upon the attenuation of a signal, so they are choosing the optical band as a 800 nanometer to 1700 nanometers, that is general bandwidth. Say the attenuation at 800 bandwidth. So in the year of 1970s there is a 800 bandwidth. So that in optical courier communication, they have choose the 850 nanometers bandwidth. So in the earlier, so see here they are verified the operation for the bandwidth of a 0 to 1000 bandwidth or 0 to 1200 bandwidth. So in the range of 0 to 1200 bandwidth, in the earlier cases, the designers they will choose the bandwidth of 0 to 1200 bandwidth. So in this bandwidth, so the minimum attenuation is here. They will get the minimum attenuation here. So if the attenuation is low, we will get the maximum signal. So here at 850 nanometer bandwidth, they will get the minimum attenuation level as compared to the all the frequency band. Okay, as the days increases, so whatever we have, what you want, we are planning for the good signal reception at the receiver. So in order to get this good signal, so what we have to do, we have to reduce the attenuation concept. So means we have to reduce the losses and attenuation. So in order to reduce the attenuation, so we have used the different material for the transmission. In the optical fiber cable, they will choose the different materials for the designing of optical fibers. So instead of all the materials what they have used, so the glass material which provides the good attenuation properties. So that's case they will choose the optical fiber glasses for the transmission purpose. And so here the optical fiber glass at the range of a 1300 nanometer, it will provides the attenuation as a 0.5 dB per kilometer. Per kilometer it will attenuate the 0.5 dB of a signal, but here it is a 5 dB. 5 dB is very more as compared to the 0.5 dB. So here the attenuation will be less as compared to the 850 nanometer range. So the 0.5 dB attenuation will be less at the range of a 1300 nanometer range. And here see the third window. In the third window there will be the attenuation at 1550 nanometers. It is also very less bandwidth as less attenuation as compared to the 1300 nanometer bandwidth. It is 0.2 dB per kilometer. So nowadays we are using the optical communications at a bandwidth of a 1550 nanometer and 1300 nanometers also. So means we are using the second window and third window for the optical communication. So why we are using the second window, why not third? We are using the third window also. Here the third window having the very less attenuation losses, but second window as compared to the third window, second window have high attenuation. But we are using the second window for some cases. So when we are requiring the less dispersion of signals, we are using the second window as compared to the third window. Third window means as compared to the 1550 nanometer, at a 1300 nanometer the dispersion of signal will be less. So that's why the are used the second window also for the optical communication purpose. Okay, so the entire frequency range for the optical communication window is 800 nanometer to 1700 nanometer. So this entire 800 to 1700 nanometers we will divide into the different spectral bands. Different spectral bands. Okay, so those spectral bands I have given below here. So we have used the 6 bands for the optical communication due to their superlative performance for the long distance communication. So these bands, instead of the all other bands, these frequency range of 800 to 1700 nanometer is the total bandwidth. Instead of all these bandwidth, the designers will choose the specific bands for the long distance communication due to the superlative performance. Superlative performance means it has the less losses and less attenuations and high speed in the transmission. So here we have choose the 6 bands for the entire duration of a bandwidth. So here first the bandwidth is represented as original bandwidth. Okay. The original bandwidth is also called as O band. Okay. The O band which have the wavelength range of 1260 nanometer to 1360 nanometer. Okay, so 1260 to 1360 means what is the bandwidth here? The bandwidth is 100 nanometer here, which is lies in the range of 1260 to 360 nanometer. The bandwidth here is 100 nanometer bandwidth, which is used for the which is used as the original band. And come to the band of E band. E band is represented as the external band. So here the external band which have the range of a 1360 nanometer to 1460 nanometer. It is also having the bandwidth of 100 nanometer. Okay, and the next band is the S band. So S band is also called as short band. S band is called as the short band, which have the bandwidth of 1460 nanometer to 1530 nanometer. Okay, and the another band which is represented as C band, which C band is also called as conventional band. So this conventional band which is mostly popular in the entire optical communication window. This C band will be the most popular in the optical communication, that is 1530 nanometer to 1565 nanometer. We have to choose this frequency range or this bandwidth for the conventional optical systems. So we can choose any one, but maximum preferable bandwidth is 1530 to 1565 nanometer bandwidth. Okay, this is very conventional for the optical systems and optical domains. And there is another bands also, L band, which is represented as the long band, which have the frequency band range of 1565 nanometer to 1625 nanometer. And another band is U band, which is also called as ultra long band, which have the bandwidth range of 1625 to 1675 nanometer. Okay, these are the bandwidth ranges, means the optical spectrum bands we have divided into the 6 bands due to their superlative performance for the long distance communication. So what is the main purpose of our systems? We have to transmitting the data. I will give an example here. Suppose if you want to communicate with your friend, so maybe he is having a distance from you as a distance of 1 to 5 meters. Suppose one person is here and second person is here, you want to communicate from here to here, maybe there is a distance of meters, assuming it is a 5 meters or 2 meters, assume it is a 2 meters distance. Okay, we can easily communicate this distance. Okay, if we want to transmitting the data from this place to it is the other person which is located at a distance of 5 kilometers, instead of 2 meters it may be the distance of 2 kilometers. Okay, instead of 2 meters is the distance is 2 kilometers, then we cannot communicate at the same time, because here the distance is increases. Due to the increase of distance, we have to choose the alternative way. Means here it is a long short distance, we can go here by walk. By walk it is possible to communicate this person, and here it is a 1 kilometer 2 kilometer distance, so by walk it is possible, but it takes more time. Suppose it is a 20 kilometer, then what we have to do? We cannot go by the walk. Yes, then what we have to do? We can choose either bike or any other transport or vehicle or car. So then we go. Okay, it may be the range is in terms of a thousands of kilometer. Then what we have to choose? We can choose the flights or trains. Okay. Likewise, based upon the distance, based upon the communication distance, we have to choose the bandwidth with which one is the best for the transmission. I think you are understood. Here it is the based upon the distance, we have to choose the different way for communicating with your friends. Suppose if it is a short distance, directly you go directly you will go and contact with your persons. Suppose if it is a distance is increases, then what we have to do? We change the mode of communication. So instead of by walking, we are choose the vehicle, that is bike or scooty, whatever. So if the distance is increases to 220 to 200 kilometers, then what we have to? The bike is somewhat difficult to go for the 200 kilometers, then we are choosing the buses or cars. And again, if the distance is increased to 1000 kilometers, maybe the driving is maybe somewhat difficult for the 1000 kilometer distance, so we are going through the aeroplanes or train lines. Likewise, if the communication range is increases, we have to choose the different frequency ranges, which one is the better for the communication as a long distance with a less losses and less attenuation. Okay, are you clear? Are you clear up to now? If you have any doubts, please let me know. Okay, shall I continue the class? Right, charging button అక్కడ చూడండి. See here. Okay. Thank you. Okay, see, now we know about the which type of band is chosen for the optical communication, means which one is better for the long distance transmission. So after choosing the particular band, what we have to do, we have to know the medium, which medium is better, okay, and how the light is transmitted, and what about the nature of a light. Okay, so based upon the nature of light we can transmitting the signal. So here the nature of light, the nature of light means how the signal is transmitted. So here the signal transmitted in terms of a ray model or wave model. So ray model or wave model means, so here whatever the signal you have, we can transmit it in terms of waves or in terms of a lines, means in terms of rays. Rays means like a transmitted. So I think you know about the rays, sun rays. So here the nature of light means what we have to transmitting here, whatever the data or information we are transmitted in terms of a light signal or optical signal. So there is a different models. So instead of those models, the better models we have to taken here. So one of the model is the ray model and another one is the wave model. So the optical signal is transmitted in terms of a rays or in terms of a waves. Wave means this is the wave, so we can transmit the signal in terms of a waves, and the rays we are represented as the rays here. Okay, and now there is a some characteristics of a light signal which have some characteristics. While transmitting the signal we have to consider the some parameters or some characteristics of a light signal, so which are represented as intensity. The intensity of the light which have to play the major role for the transmission. So transmission means while you are transmitting the light signal, you should have to get the intensity. Okay, how much intensity the signal will be received. So here the intensity will be described as a units of power for solid angle. The intensity of a light signal which is having the units of power per solid angle. Okay, actually the intensity of a light signal which is generally represented in a conical 3D angle. Suppose if it is a conical 3D surface, so in this we have to choose the point here. This is the source. From this point we want to transmitting the data to receiver. So with the 3D conical surface, so here there is a transmitter or source here. Now the source will deliver the light signal, means whatever the light will be emitted from this point. Okay, this emitted light signal to solid angle, means it may be one dimensional or 2D angle or 3D angle. So here the intensity is represented as how much of signal will be emitted from this point to one angle, one solid angle. How much of light signal will be emitted to a one solid angle, which is represented as the intensity. How much power of a signal will be received in a one solid angle is represented as the intensity of the signal. And the wavelength, next characteristics is wavelength. So what is the wavelength here, how we are choosing the wavelength. Okay, the wavelength of a signal will be choose based upon the performance of a signal. So performance is based upon the losses. Okay, we are choosing the optical wavelength based upon the losses of a signal. So if the losses is high at a particular wavelength, we are not considering the wavelength. Suppose assume the wavelength of 1000 nanometer. the wavelength of 1000 nanometer, which have the attenuation is 6 dB, while another bandwidth which is having 1355 nanometer, which have the attenuation is 2 dB. So which one have the less attenuation here? Which one is the less attenuation or less losses? Here 6 dB is the high losses as compared to the 2 dB. Okay, so based upon the attenuation or information loss, we have to choose the particular bandwidth. We have to choose one bandwidth for a transmission. So that is completely depends upon the losses or performance of a system in terms of a attenuation losses. Okay, next one is the spectral width. The spectral width, which is represented as the data rates, which is depends upon the data rates. Sir, here the spectral means suppose we have the different colors. Suppose uh, in my point of view, the red color, I am choosing the red color is dark red color, but maybe in your point of view the red color is light color, means light red. I am choosing the red color as a bright, but you are choosing very light color. In our point of view there will be a different color for the red, so that for mine it is bright color, for your it is a very light color. Okay, here the spectral width is also depends upon the data rate, means be depends upon the brightness of the signal. So the spectral width is low, we have to maintain the spectral width is low. So if the spectral width is low, then the bandwidth will be high. The bandwidth will be high. In this case, when the spectral width is low, then the bandwidth of a system is high. There is a inverse relation. If width is low, then the bandwidth is high. Okay, what about channel capacity? What about the channel capacity? If the bandwidth is high, is the channel capacity is low or high? If bandwidth is low, what about the channel capacity? If bandwidth is high, what about the channel capacity? See, in the both the cases, if bandwidth is low, means if the bandwidth is decreases, then channel capacity also decreases. If bandwidth is high, means if the bandwidth is increases, then channel capacity is also increases. Already we are discussed yesterday based upon the channel capacity theorem, which is represented as C is equal to B log 2 C is equal to B log 2 1 plus S by N. Okay, so this is the channel capacity theorem. So already you are studied about this channel capacity theorem in your digital communication system. So here we will discuss about the channel capacity, how will it will varies based upon the bandwidth. If the bandwidth is increases, then channel capacity is also increases. If the bandwidth is decreases, channel capacity is decreases. Not only depends upon the bandwidth, it is also depends upon the signal to noise ratio. Okay, if the signal to noise ratio is low, then capacity is high. So based upon that we can determining the channel capacity and the bandwidth. Okay, next one is the polarization. Okay, here the polarization means there is a different polarization models. So it may be the linear and circular polarization. Maybe there is a elliptical polarization. There is a different types of a polarization, either linear polarization, circular polarization and elliptical polarizations. Okay, out of these parameters, out of these parameters, the intensity and wavelength and spectral width, there is no direction for these three parameters. There is no direction for these parameters of intensity. Okay. The intensity, there is no direction of intensity, and wavelength also no direction, and spectral width also no direction. But here the polarization, it have the direction. Maybe it may be in the direction of east direction or west direction or whatever. We can transmitting the signal in either linear polarization or circular polarization or elliptical polarization. Okay, so there is no direction for intensity, wavelength and spectral, so it can be described as the scalar parameters. This is the scalar quantity. Okay, the polarization, it have the direction, so it is represented as the vector quantity. Okay, now we have to discuss ray model. Okay, the ray model, which is the type of a light nature. So we are transmitting the light signal in terms of either rays or wave models. So the ray model here, it describes the propagation of light. Okay, so ray, how we are defining it is ray or wave. So how the light will be propagated in terms of rays or wavelengths or waves, we can represent as either it is a ray model or wave model. Okay, here the ray model, which describes the propagation of light in terms of rays. The ray model describes the propagation of light in terms of a rays which travel in straight lines. Which travel in the straight lines. The ray model, which describes the propagation of light in terms of rays which travel in a straight line and whose path is governed by the law of reflection and law of refraction. Whose path is governed by the law of reflection and law of reflection. See, I will explain here. The whatever, suppose we are transmitting the light as a straight line, it will strikes the one plane medium. Suppose here it is one medium, it is another medium. Suppose we are transmitting the light signal as a straight line, means the ray model is describing the propagation of light in terms of rays which travel in a straight line. Suppose a light signal is transmitted in a straight line. When it will strikes the some plane or some medium, maybe there will be a chances of reflection or refraction. Whose path means which path? The light signal path is governed by the law of reflection and law of refraction. Whenever a signal which is transmitted from one medium to another medium, okay, whenever the signal is propagated to another medium, so assuming the medium it is M1, this medium is M1 and another medium is M2. Now we have the two mediums. Light signal is propagated from M1 medium to M2 medium. Okay, there may be a chances of a reflection or refraction. Okay, so see the figure here. In this figure, the dotted lines which is represented as this dotted lines is represented as the normal. This dotted line is represents the normal plane, means normal representation, and here I am representing the lower surface is the medium 1 and the higher surface is the medium 2. The lower surface having the medium which is represented as medium 1 and it is medium 2, means it is different material, this is different material. The medium is here, it is different, here it is different. Suppose assuming this is air, this may be another material, not a air, this may be another medium here. Here the medium is air. Suppose assuming the medium is optical cable here. So we have to choose the different mediums. Okay. So suppose here the medium 1 having the refractive index is n1. The medium 1 having the refractive index is n1, and the medium 2 having the refractive index is n2. The medium 1 have refractive index is n1 and it has the n2. See here it is a point, means intersection point or axis point whenever the signal is incident here. Suppose I am incident the signal here. This is the normal axis, this is the surface. Okay. So whenever I am incident the light signal with an angle that is represented as pi 1. Okay. I am incident the signal with an angle of pi 1. It will refracted into the second medium and reflected into the same medium. This is the same medium, so this is the second medium. The incident light signal, they will be reflected and refracted also. Whatever the light signal we are transmitted, that light signal is reflected and refracted. So see the refracted signal with an angle of a pi 2 in the medium of m2. The incident signal is now reflected, so refracted and reflected into the same medium. It is m1, so with an angle of pi 2. Assuming this is pi 2, assuming this is a pi 3, so it will be either reflected or refracted. So based upon the refractive index of a particular medium, the signal will be reflected and refracted back to the mediums. So assume when it will be propagated into the another medium, if the refractive index of the medium 1 is n1 greater than the n2, then only there will be a chances for the propagation of a signal with refraction and reflection. So whatever if we want to transmitting, so example means, sir, why it should be the n1 greater than n2? Suppose you have the money of 5 rupees. Assuming you have the 5 rupee money, your friend need 10 rupees. Your friend needs 10 rupees, but you have only 5 rupees now. Then what we do? So you don't have enough money to transmit to the person. Yes or no? Here you have only 5 rupees, but the person he need 10 rupees, but you have only 5 rupees here. So suppose if you want the 10 rupees or 5 rupees, he will give, means he have the 10 rupees. Suppose if you want the 5 rupees, he can give, or if you want the 10 rupees, he can give, because if you have the maximum value or maximum number here, so he can easily give it to you. So likewise here only, if the refractive index is high, so then the light or whatever the signal, it can be easily propagated into the lower medium. If the dense is high dense, okay, this den is very less density. The density of the medium 1 is high, so here the density is low, so that's why the signal is easily propagated into the second medium. Suppose if the density of the second medium is high, n2 greater than n1, then the signal will not propagate into the medium n2. If the second medium having the high refractive index as compared to the first refractive index, whatever the signal here transmitted, we cannot propagate it into the second medium. Okay, while transmitting the signal, we should have the second medium having the less denser medium, and the refractive index is less denser. Okay. Okay. So here the law of refraction and reflection. So already we have discussed here. The ray model describes the propagation of light in terms of rays which travel in a straight line and whose path is governed by the law of reflection and law of refraction, okay, at interfaces between the different medias. So this is interface and you have one medium, this is another medium. Okay, so this will depends upon the whatever the light signal interfaces, it will be either reflected or refracted. So we are discussing here the law of reflection and the law of refraction here. Okay, the law of reflection, which represents the incident ray and the reflected ray and the normal to the surface, all are lie in the same plane. The incident ray and the reflected ray and normal to the surface, which are lie in the same plane. So that means, okay, suppose assuming this is a normal surface, normal, this is the surface here. Let's assuming we have to incident the light here with an signal pi I, or we are incident the signal. So the signal is reflected here, the signal is reflected here, and this is the normal. So all these are in the same plane, yes or no? This is in the same plane, this normal also in the same plane, this reflected signal also in the same plane, means these are in the same medium. Okay, and means we should have to choose these values, then only the signal will be reflected. Whenever the incident ray and reflected ray and normal ray are should be lies in the same plane, and the main condition we have to reflect the when the signal will be reflected, if the angle of incident, if the angle of incident will be equal to angle of reflection. Angle of incidence should be equal to the angle of reflection here. Okay, let us the incident angle is pi I or pi 1. If the incident angle is pi 1 here, then the reflected angle should be equal to the pi 1. Okay. The law of reflection, which says that the angle of incidence will be equal to the angle of a reflection. So let's assuming we are incident the signal with an angle of a 120 degree here. We are incident the signal with an angle of 120 degrees. So the reflected signal also should be 120 degree angle. It not be a less than 120. It should be the 120 degree. Okay, so the angle of incidence should be equal to the angle of reflection. Okay, that says the law of reflection here, and another one is the law of refraction. The law of reflection, which describes the incident and refracted waves, are lies in the same plane of incidence. So same plane of incidence means whenever, let us see, suppose we are, this is the normal plane as a dotted lines. Suppose we are incident a signal here, this is the incident signal pi 1. Okay, this incident signal should be in the same plane of a, see, the incident and refracted ray are lie in the same plane of incidence, same plane of incidence. Here all lies in the same plane. Before law of reflection, what we have to study, we are study that the incident ray and reflected ray and the normal to the surface all should be lie in the same plane. But here the law of refraction says that the incident and refracted rays are lie in the same plane of incidence. Whatever the incident signal here, so the refract, this is the refracted signal, which should be lie in the same plane of a incidence. How the signal is incident, so here it will be lies in the same plane. Okay, so this is represented as a law of refraction. So the law of refraction, which is represented as n1 sine theta 1 and n2, sorry, n1 sine pi 1 and n1 sine pi 2. So which is the law of refraction which describes, and it's also described as the law of refraction n1 sine pi 1 is equal to n2 sine pi 2, which describes this Snell's law, which describes the Snell's law. Okay. These law of reflection and law of refraction, which are used for, why we are choosing law of reflection and law of refraction? The law of reflection and law of refraction, which are useful for the light propagation, how the signal, in which angle how the signal will be propagated, we can determine by using either law of reflection and law of refraction. Here the law of refraction is represented with is n1 sin pi 1 equal to n2 sin pi 2. So here the suppose n1 and n2, what is n1 and n2? N1 and n2 are the refractive index of a medium, so it should be the constant. We cannot change the medium refractive index. These n1 and n2 are the constants, and the pi 1 and pi 2 here the in terms of a refraction, so whatever the pi 1, it should be equal to the pi 2. Okay, the pi 1 is equal to the angle of pi 2. Okay, that is the representation of a law of refraction. Okay, if you feel bored, please let me know. If you are good, I will continue the session, otherwise I will wait for 5 to 10 minutes. If you want a break, I will give the break for 5 to 10 minutes, then I will continue the session. You want to break? Yeah, sure, I will give the break. Okay, take a break for 5 to 10 minutes. We will start again at 11:50.